Automotive Amateurs coming with another special one. We got a Verosa here with Dylan Sharpe.
How's it going?
So Dylan, what inspired you to buy this car?
Well, the biggest thing is I really like the X chassis from Toyota. So that's Mark IIs, Crestas, Chasers, and the one that most people don't know is the Verosa. Now, I previous to this had a Chaser, and then before that I had a Mark II, both a X100 platform. Now, this is a JZX 110 platform, which is side by side with the Mark II. Now, the Verosa replaced the Cresta and the Chaser, which were the sports model and the squishy luxury model, while the Mark II is kind of the luxury sport version. This car kind of took the place of the Cresta and the Chaser, which were both discontinued in 2001. The platform of the 110 is more or less identical to a IS300, which is available in North America, that most of you guys probably know, which kind of makes it a little bit easier for me getting replacement parts being in North America where this car isn't sold. And really the only issue is being body panels.
So what year, what engine, and what's some of the options that came with this car?
The 110 Verosa was sold in a variety of different models. The first one being called a 20, which comes with a 1G, like a 2-liter straight 6. They only came 4-speed automatic, generally a kind of a less fancy interior than this, and no options for all-wheel drive or anything like that. Following that, you have a 25, which this car is, which is a 2.5-liter with a 1JZ engine. However, it's a 1JZ FSE, and the FSE is a kind of a designation given to Toyota's direct injected kind of fuel miser engine, just like this one is. So it's a single overhead cam with a driven intake cam, direct injection, and it can do lots of cool stuff. Like it can, it's 11.5 to 1 compression, and it also runs an 87 octane fuel, which in comparison to many other cars is pretty special. It gets incredible mileage, so I'm kind of loving it while I can, seeing that I'm going to be changing the engine. Following the 25, you have a V25, which is the kind of the sporty sport version of this car, with the same engine, but with offerings for a 4-speed automatic and a 5-speed automatic. This one being a 5-speed automatic. But you're getting the nice, the even nicer interior than this, and 17-inch alloy wheels, a limited slip differential, the turbo size front brakes, and the options for leather, sunroof, stuff like that. And then the end one being a VR25, which is the one that everybody wants, which is a 2.5-liter turbo 1JZ single turbo, with the options for a manual transmission or an automatic, with the limited slip, and you get all the bells and whistles. Those ones are extremely expensive in Japan and quite sought after here, Australia, Russia, and all over the place, and in Japan. These cars, on the other hand, are kind of unloved just because they don't have the big motor in them. So that's why I bought it, because it was significantly cheaper than buying a turbo model.
So what are some of the things you had to go through to import this car from Japan?
Looking and more looking. I was very specific to getting this 3P9 purple color that the car is, because a lot of my other cars are also a very similar color to this, and I just prefer it. Also, I wanted to find one that was a January or a July or June build date, as those were the first couple months that the cars were produced. And in Canada, we have a 15-year rule, but it's not to the year, it's to the production month. So I had to find a Verosa with a July or June birthday. This car was a July, and evidently, so I've been told, and from my research, that it's the only legal one in Canada currently, and definitely the only legal one in North America. So I'm kind of happy to have the first one. I've wanted one for quite some time.
So you were mentioning earlier you were going to change the engine. What were the plans for this thing then?
So the plans for this were, I was originally kind of toying with keeping it automatic, because my original, the JZX 100 Mark II that I had, was an automatic, and I loved it. It was fantastic. The transmission was great, and I really liked sliding the car and just daily driving. It was just a good all-around. I had tons of fun. It was super reliable, and it was just a little bit cheap. My Chaser that I just got rid of, which was a TRD Chaser with a factory 5-speed and all that stuff. I like the manual transmission, but I really like the automatic too. I've kind of come to the conclusion that I'm going to keep this one manual, and I'm going to be using a BMW 6-speed transmission from like an E46 330, and then with a 2JZ VVTi with a Borg Warner like S300 series turbo on it. So it should probably be making on pump gas on 91 anywhere in the region of 400 or 500 horsepower, which should be quite the improvement from 200 at the flywheel, of course, 15 years ago.
So what's so different about driving right-hand drive over left-hand drive?
Well, right-hand drive, really, we're all, for the most part, I think, all kind of car ambidextrous when it comes to operating a vehicle or even just kind of a piece of equipment. The thought process that's going on in your head is all the same. The only difference being is you're sitting on the other side. The biggest thing for most people, you want to make a left-hand turn, you're going to do this. Yeah, that's going to put the wipers on.
I've made that mistake already.
Yeah. So the turn signals are opposite. Now, you might not realize it driving in your own car, but we all like to kind of tend to make a home while we're driving, like a vision. Yeah. So you're used to sitting on the opposite side, so your field of vision, you kind of have a little bit of a tunnel vision. You're trying to be over here in the middle of the road because you're like, oh, this is where I sit when I drive. But now you're on the other side, so you kind of got to kind of train yourself to get in the right part of the road.
So other than that, turning and everything.
So yeah, turning, like you learn to. Like parking and stuff, it is all an acquired thing. I like parking it because you're closer to the curb, so you can get closer and you have more control, I think. But however, pulling out of the spaces can be somewhat treacherous depending on what's behind you when you're parked on the street, because you can't really see. Same with left-hand turns, but it all comes from experience and driving it. You learn how to take corners a little bit differently, like in an intersection, or for the most part, you're not in any kind of like real danger. So it's not, anybody can do it. My mom can do it, you can do it, your grandma can do it. It doesn't really matter.
So what scares people most about bringing a right-hand drive vehicle over is insurance. So what's so hard about insuring a right-hand drive vehicle?
The issue being is that, well, when I first started getting into these cars, so this would have been around 2005, 2006, that all of a sudden there was GTRs and like twin cam VTEC Hondas, like all these like cool cars,
all the brand name cars.
Yeah, all the enthusiast cars, but Japanese ones and models that we weren't able to get. So you got guys bringing Hondas, GTRs, RX-7s, all these like really cool cars. And all these insurance companies were like, whoa, it's got a 10-digit VIN number and this and that. And people were using classic car insurance in like family members' names and like really like bending the system to get these cars on the road.
Yeah.
And kind of did it to ourselves. Like so many people, and people doing it like fraudulent stuff with like stolen cars and stuff like that, to the point where the insurance companies are like, well, like if your mirror gets kicked off in a parking lot, we can't call up Toyota and get another one. Yeah. Somebody backs into you, like you bump into somebody at a stoplight, we can't get a headlight for your car.
Yeah, we can't. Something you're gonna have to order from Japan.
And the insurance, there's no benefit for them, right? You really have to look at it in their perspective. You're insuring a car that's not as easily driven, a car that's generally dangerous because they don't have the same crash standards in Japan.
Yeah.
Among other things, and a lot of these are sporty, like high-performance cars that get the shit kicked out of them. So really, like, why would you take the risk? Like, the risk of an accident happening is significantly higher. The risk of it getting stolen is significantly higher. The risk of them having to write it off for the smallest damage because they can't get parts out isn't like for sure. What's the point of holding those cars for insurance, right? So I feel for the insurance companies. I know it sounds terrible because they're bandits, but it's a bad shake for them, and I totally get why it is difficult to get insurance. However, I will say this: anytime I've ever sold a car to somebody that was right-hand drive, oh, I can't get insurance, I called this place, I called that place, I can't get insurance, I'm all worried. You will find insurance as long as your license isn't a complete disaster, or you live in some like a very heavy urban area like Toronto or something like that. You have a car that you just paid $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 for sitting in your driveway, itching at you to drive, you'll find insurance. You'll get it. It's one of the things where there's a necessity and there's a want. When there's a necessity, you'll get it. When it's a want, you call a couple places, you get a bunch of no's. It's easier to give up than to go after it. But you just dropped 15, 20 grand on a car. You're gonna want to drive it. You don't want to look at it.
Yeah.
If you need the insurance, you'll find it. And so far, anybody that was all like, "Oh, I can't find it," and then I say, "Hey, just get it. You'll get insurance. Trust me. They always get it."
So after you decided you wanted a Verosa, what did you go through to actually get the car here?
Well, I have a really, really good friend in Japan that I deal with that I use like almost exclusively for any like cars that I want to import for myself. And I let him know that I was looking for a Verosa. After some long searches, I looked probably every other day, if not every day, on my auction search and on like dealer sites and stuff. Probably 5, 6, 7 months before I found this one, which I got. I think I officially got in March, which was like I was kind of getting desperate at that point.
Yeah.
I really wanted one with leather and a sunroof, but as you can see, there's no sunroof there and there's no leather. So, but hey.
You got the car you wanted?
Got the car I wanted.
They want to see this thing, so where can they expect to see it? What kind of events is it going to be showing up at?
Well, the biggest thing is because our team, kind of like just our group of friends, Sneak Zero, we got invited to drive at Special Stage East, which is like a part of the Final Bout kind of like franchise of events. We drove there last year, and I had a black S15 with a SR20 and all the bells and whistles, and we did really good, and we had a ton of fun. It was a great event for a lot of us, and a lot of us hadn't traveled or kind of gone outside the Ontario drift scene, so it was something that I was really happy to introduce to the rest of my friends. Now the car will probably be done for Final Bout, so we'll be driving there at Canaan Raceway in New Hampshire, and that will be October 15th is the day of the event.
Okay.
I'll definitely be driving the car at events at Toronto Motorsports Park, which is called Cayuga.
Yep.
Mossport, Shannonville, for like top drift days, drift tops, that kind of thing. So I'm pretty excited about that, and I'll be driving the car every day. It'll be my daily driver. So
you seem to do a lot of events. Where can people follow you to keep up on what you're doing?
Yeah, I have. We have two kind of social media outlets. I have my own for like my professional like drifting that I do with an S15 that I'm sure you guys will see one day, and that's at Sharpe Racing Official on Instagram, and that's Sharpe with an E on the end. And then Sneak Zero is our other Instagram and kind of our other outlet, and that can be found on Facebook as well, just like the Sharpe Racing, and on Instagram, and that's just Sneak Zero, one word, how it should be spelled. So.
Alright, well, I want to thank you for giving us the insight on this thing.
Yeah.
It's definitely been a pleasure. Not every time you get to see this.
Yeah, it's definitely a head turner. It's an acquired taste by many. Like as you said, Ryan, you were like, ooh, geez, like I don't know about this thing. Showing you pictures in the past, you see it in person, it's a little bit different.
Yeah,
but,
it definitely grows.
Yeah, it definitely grows on you. When I picked the car up from the port, it was all dirty with the factory wheels on. I'm just like, oh man, did I make a mistake? Is this gonna be okay? And then washed the car. I threw a set of wheels on it just because I can't leave anything alone. And I'm like, I think this is gonna be okay. And I don't know. I look at it every time I walk away from it, so I'm sure it's doing something right.
Yeah. Well, as long as you're looking at it when you walk away.
Yeah, that's usually if you look at it when you're walking away from it, you made a good decision. You like the car you own. So yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again. Appreciate it.
Awesome.
We'll hope to see some more of your cars in the future.
For sure. And I'm excited to show you this when it's done. You.
Shake it, yeah, shake it.